On this very special episode of ENDACAST, I take you on location to Startup Orlando to show you the innovation in creating a startup in 54 hours. This amazing super special of ENDACAST is going to start right now.
The end of a 9-to-5 grind is the beginning of a 24/7 innovative entrepreneur. You are listening to ENDACAST with your hosts, Sal Greco and Logan Lenz. This is
Nice. All right, and the audience, welcome to this really special episode. This is your host. This is his face, Sal Greco, and this is co-host Logan Lenz. That's his face. Logan, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm super excited right now. This is amazing. I feel like I don't even get to see your face enough. When we Skype, it's always audio.
Yeah, are we equal size? Like when this airs, are we gonna have same?
It'll be split screen. Should be split screen,
Okay.
right next to each
Cool.
other. Yeah.
So you get to see this big head in its full size.
Yes, everyone can see it. Yep.
Awesome.
So, before I get into just talking about startups, anything new with you? Anything lately you just want to share on ENDACAST?
Well, I think I'm gonna forego anything that's exciting because I do have a lot in the works, but I don't want to necessarily publicize anything and take up the airtime because I know you have more of an exciting thing to expand on, which is why we're doing this special episode.
Right on. Cool.
So I do want to ask you about Startup Orlando and all of what is comprised in this episode and everything that you learned and everything. So
let me just start with like a little backstory. If anyone remembers episode maybe 20 or something, the one with Tommy Cannon of Bungo Box. Like pretty much on the episode, he invited me to Startup Weekend in Orlando because he knows I'm from there. It was easy to make, and right on, I went for it. So I show up, and the whole premise of Startup Orlando, or startups in general, the Startup Weekend, is people come on Friday to pitch. Friday is pitch day, so it starts like Friday evening about 5, 6 o'clock. And pitches went on for a really long time. There must have been 100 pitches, and it's anywhere from people who had ideas months ago and they were excited to bring their idea to Startup Weekend, like they had it all worked out and planned, like this is my idea, and they were looking for outlets to share it, so they found Startup Weekend, all the way to people who had their idea the night before, and believe it or not, one of the ideas from the night before was a winner. And so that's really cool, and people were even, you could tell, having ideas while other people were pitching. And it didn't matter. It was a very comfortable setting and really organized. Everyone did a great job. I mean, you had just 1 minute to pitch, and they even broke it down for you. Like the first 10 to 15 seconds was, here's the problem. The next 10 to 15 seconds is, here's my solution. And then I think this is what I need to make it happen. That might have been all it was. Here's a problem. Here's a solution. I'm going to need at least 3 back-end developers, 1 front-end site designer. I'd like a business marketing person to work with me. Vote for this. So then after that, everyone just went out in the hallway and you voted on like a sticky note system. You got a bunch of votes, and you were allowed to just place a vote on the startup brands that you were interested in.
Interesting. So these are just branded ideas, and that's it, because that's the whole point, is that these get built.
Exactly.
Every person that pitches then votes on their peers,
everyone gets about 4 or 5 votes, something like that. So you can dump all of them into one team if you really want them, or you can spread them out and share them. And then the pitches were all different. One person went completely off the cuff of how you were supposed to pitch, but I really enjoyed his pitch because he did like a narrative in it. Like it was super exciting. I mean, he came. It was an app idea. For a video game, a geolocation video game based off of your favorite games as a kid, like hide and go seek, tag, capture the flag, anything where you can like pin something really and then geolocate it. So he had this really exciting pitch where he like was wearing a black suit with the earpiece in as if he was like an FBI agent, and he made this whole like patient zero sketch where he was saying like, you know, the virus is out to get us all, and like it was a really, really interesting pitch that he took it that way. And for sure his project got worked on, I think, because he made, you know, such an interesting, I mean, it's not even an argument really, because he didn't say his problem, solution, whatever. It was just something really exciting, and I want to do a video game but based off of my favorite games as a kid. So yeah, certain pitches were too broad, too much of something to turn into like a product. You know, if you couldn't really tell what they were getting at, then you couldn't really tell what the purpose was to work on. Some were hilarious. I couldn't believe the one pitch was the guy just wanted to create a subscription service for tampons, and it became a winner. It went on and became a finalist. It was amazing.
So how many did it trickle down?
It broke down into, I think, 15 to 17 teams, something like that.
So then the point is that these 100 people then split up into these groups?
Yes. Then after they decide who the 17 contestants will be, the contending brands or startups, then they get like, it wasn't really a pitch. They just got to again say who they needed. Like, we put the top 15 people up there, and they said, I needed this person, that person, move on. And then that was it. Then they were just allowed to break out, and it became just, like a great meet and greet, people walking around, and they had Friday night to solidify their team, and Saturday they just came firing. It was a really long event. So it was Friday night till midnight, and then Saturday, Sunday, like 8 or 9 a.m. all the way till, just nighttime. I mean, people would leave at all different hours, but people would stay as groups. People would go out to dinner as groups. The Startup Weekend organization is amazing. They catered the entire event. Food was just getting thrown at you all the time to keep you fueled up and going. They had speakers come in, so every once in a while, we'd break back into the main auditorium for a speaker. I forget his name, of Isaiah, was kind of like the keynote for the last day.
Murphy?
Yes, the last day. The people at, it's going to kill me now that I forgot the name, something Bunny, Sound Bunny, or what's that voiceover service where you'd love it because they used, what's that venture capitalist, you're kind of like a fan of his site.
Fred Wilson?
Yes. They broke on the scene by creating a Fred Wilson podcast. Does he have a podcast? He didn't, right?
Probably not. I don't think so.
The service is a startup for voiceovers, like cheap voice work done. So what they did was they took like Fred's work, his blog posts, and they had it turned into a podcast, and they just shared it virally without even telling him. He found out right before they got to him, but he was so stoked on it that he shared it, and that's how they got their big exposure. So it was a really cool thing.
So what did you do in the Saturday and Sunday? Since as a judge, isn't that
yes.
Don't you have to wait?
I was the mentor role. The judges were Tommy was the only judge from Startup Weekend, and the other judges were just entrepreneurs in the Orlando community. The biggest sponsor is, I think, the Orlando Chamber of Commerce, and the whole point of this is to just foster a startup community in Orlando. So the top three prizes are $5,000 from the Chamber of Commerce, and as long as you incorporate yourself in Orange County. The top 6 teams won, all of the benefits, like 3 months in the UCF incubator, which is then gives you all this resources and stuff like that, all this coaching, a legal team and all that. They're going to pay to have you incorporated and stuff. And then also the 3-month period is like another coaching phase until at the end, those top 6 teams are going to compete for a $10,000 grant from the Chamber of Commerce to continue on again.
Excellent.
So what we'll be seeing coming up is my little sort of run through of Startup Weekend. I'll probably explain a little bit what I did when I take a walk through and I show everyone the lecture hall, then the breakout rooms. And then I did about like probably a 3 to 5 minute interview with each of the organizers, Orit, Frank from Startup Weekend, and our first follow-up interview with Tommy Cannon.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's some great little foreshadowing in my walkabout because one of the people that I happened to single out just to ask him what he's learning at Startup Weekend and everything turned out to be the winner. So that was I was fortunate that just happened by coincidence. So then at the end, all I had to do was interview him. So it was
Awesome.
great. So yeah, I mean, while we're talking right now, I'll just throw up the pictures and stuff to just show what people can, get an idea of what Startup Weekend was like. And the breakout rooms were amazing. I mean, it was just so much energy to see the whiteboards filled with just everything on what they needed to have done, their ideas and conceptualizing. I mean, some of them were just graphics of people drawing literally iPhones and just how would the iPhone page look, and people were intense. I mean, there was one group set up like an entire area of like 6 computer screens. I mean, it was like that they just made shift. Like it was just makeshift. They made it that day.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really exciting.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was. Oh, but my role, I really learned a lot because I had this mentor role, and my job was to just go around offering my advice to the teams based on my expertise. So everyone knew ahead of time, okay, Sal's coming from ENDACAST, who's also going to be doing some press to share this. But I'm an internet marketer, and I'm here to help you with anything with your web presence, plus a little bit of product development, because I feel that with 4-Hour Power, I've learned a lot in getting a product to market.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I went around to about every team, but I think it's pretty natural that you would then start to gravitate to certain teams. Of course, certain teams that I would be interested in their application. And I think, it's impossible for me to share a good amount of knowledge and quality with 15 teams. So I sort of hung around in one breakout room a lot and really worked with like 3 or 4 teams like the whole weekend. One of them was this app called Database. That was like my home little group. It felt like I was really helping them a lot. It was good. It was sort of close to the We Otta people who we interviewed before with the itinerary-based app, but
Yep.
specifically on dating. Like it was all based around 2 people are dating, either they're in a relationship or they're brand new to dating, and they're going back and forth with, what do you want to do? Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Well, let's just figure it out based on our preferences. So based on Facebook API, on their likes and interests, plus a little mixture of a prerequisite of like, okay, like sort of like Urban Spoon, I'm looking to spend this much money on a date. I'm looking to go to a really public atmosphere, or I'm looking for a private setting. I'm looking for live music, or I'm looking for this, and then it generates a 1, 2, 3. Like you could start your date here, take it to here, and then end it here.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that.
So out of all these, at least the ones that were made, are they all out in the wild now, or is there still a process? Like, what are they showing at the end of it, and can we see them now?
Yeah. So what happens is they have 54 hours, and they either kind of take it like one of 2 ways. They either try to make a feasible demo by the end of it, like they either try to have like a somewhat working app to show, or they go the other route and just try to show nice designs and a really solid business plan. Where like obviously the database team, they could not make that app this weekend. They just had to share their best business plan, and here's the look and feel of the app. Like this is what the pages are going to look like, and all that. As opposed to like the geolocation team, they pretty much made their app. Another one was I Gotta Pee, finding nice public restrooms for parents and stuff like that. They sort of made their app and like had a few places on UCF campus that were good bathrooms, and you could see it on their app.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened was, and like Frank from Startup Weekend shared, like usually maybe 2 or 3 people from the team keep it going. There was a lot of people from the University of Florida. Like they brought like their entrepreneur club. So, a lot of them were in the winning group. I don't know how they're expected to, be a part of the UCF incubator and everything. I'm sure they have a lot going on in Gainesville, but it's all preference. I mean, if they want to be a part of it, then they can. The opportunity is there for them. But a lot of them just sort of leave, and the group, the project or the startup stays with the brain the brainchild. It stays with whoever kind of had that idea pretty much, and whoever's closest to that idea.
Okay.
So yeah, the top 6. I'm pretty sure they're doing it. They have their incubator space at UCF, and hopefully we'll follow up. That'd be nice. Actually, I didn't even think of that. Let's do a little follow up on this in 3 months.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love to see where they are in the process and how much they're penetrating a given market.
For sure. Yeah. So before I roll into this whole on location segment, is there anything else you're interested in knowing about the event?
No, I think you covered it, and I think you will even go into more depth in the video. So look forward to watching.
At UCF, it's gonna be pretty exciting for you to see some UCF buildings and
Definitely.
yeah.
Always
Well, hey,
think back.
thanks for jumping on, and we're gonna get right into this guest segment for you. Or sorry, not a guest segment. Right into this on location segment. I'm gonna throw in some super special music for this. So see you there.
Awesome.
All right, and audience, I'm going to take you through a quick walkthrough of Startups Weekend, what it's like. Right now we are at UCF, my alma mater, Logan's too. Here's where it all began in this lecture hall. Right here, right there. There's some teams practicing their pitches right now, up at the top. This is Sunday right now. 2 days ago, Friday night. About 100 people got up and pitched their business ideas. I mean, some people brought ideas that were already businesses, basically, and they brought their businesses here to work on and gain new partners. And some people had ideas the night before, and probably even while other people were pitching, and they brought up their ideas. So I think there's like 15 to 17 projects being worked on this weekend, all starting with that idea, from idea, conception, to reality. It's all going to happen. We'll show you, how that turns out in a little bit. But let's walk around. So they leave here. They formulate their team. They pitch the idea. We voted on all those pitches. Not me because I'm mentor, but the participants voted on all those pitches. The ones that get worked on get teams like this. They put developers together, designers, business people. Look at that. Look how that worked out. Designer, business. And they're hard at work. Here's another breakout room right here. Nice. What business are you guys working on? Which project?
Bitcoin starter kit.
Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
Bitcoin. Exciting. Look at their serious work. They take it seriously. Nice. How's Tamposh going?
Oh, we're not.
I know you guys are over here. How's it going for you guys?
It's going. We're timing out the final pitch.
What have you learned from Startup Weekend? What has been your best learning experience? What are you taking away from it?
What am I taking away from it? That you can do it. That it can be done.
In 54 hours, right?
54 hours. If you can do it in 54 hours, you can probably do it in a week.
Nice.
And sleep occasionally.
Nice. And what was the name of your project?
Mole shopper.
Mole Shopper, right? Anyone else want to share what they've learned at Startups Weekend? Care to share what you've learned?
I've learned a lot, but mostly I've met a great group of people. This is a team that can certainly work on different projects. So
And that's what it's all about, right?
that's what it's all about, the team.
It was great to meet you this whole entire weekend. All right, one more breakout room. I'm going to show you guys what's going on here. There's really people all over this building, finding any little nook and cranny they can. And they feed you the whole time here. They don't stop feeding you. Here's the breakout room I've been participating in a lot. We met that team earlier. Here's the database team, super hard at work. Look at that whiteboard. Look at that whiteboard, chock full of ideas. Or should I say dry erase full of ideas. Big Rick. All right, well, there you have it. That's what Startup Weekend's all about. They have an hour now. They just got their final buzzer. In about an hour, they're going to be pitching their businesses and going for those grants, $5,000 each to the top 3 teams. And we'll take you through that shortly. All right, welcome again to our first ENDACAST on location and first video ENDACAST. This is your host, Sal Greco, and I'm sitting here with one of the sponsors, right, for organizers, yeah, for the Startups Weekend Orlando. Right now, this is Orit. Orit, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Sal.
It's great.
It's been a great weekend.
Absolutely been fabulous to be here. So tell us a little bit about your background and then what sort of led you to organizing this event here.
Sure. My background is I graduated from UF in the Rollins MBA program right now. We also run a startup called Drop Post It. So we allow you to send a virtual gift card to any location. And I'm just really involved with here in the startup community here in Orlando.
Nice. So far with this startup community and with this event right here, what have you learned and what are you taking away from organizing this?
What am I taking away is just people are really excited about this event and kind of bringing together this entrepreneurship-based community here in Orlando and starting to form these bonds that hopefully will carry on and make the community here stronger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll leave with, what do you have for some sort of aspiring entrepreneur listening and looking to get involved in the startup community wherever they live?
I'd say, find whatever group you can and just brush right in and, start networking and attend the events and come to startup weekends and go to the meetup groups and just jump headfirst in.
Absolutely. You can spend as much time as you want on a computer, but you cannot undervalue how important it is to get out there and be face-to-face with people. It's huge.
I agree. Definitely getting out there is the best thing to meeting people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sal.
We'll see you later.
All right. See you.
That's Orit. All right, sitting here in one of the little breakout rooms during Startup Weekend with Tommy Cannon, former ENDACAST guest already, so this is our first sort of little follow-up interview as well. And it's an exciting weekend. Thank you so much for inviting me to this. It's really been an amazing time.
Coming,
great learning experience. So tell everyone how you got involved in Startup Weekend and what made you,
Sure. Trying to get the startup community going in Orlando. It's kind of not where we want it to be. We want to be able to compete on a larger scale. Mm-hmm. So having events like this really kind of gets the entrepreneurial spirit going in Orlando, gets people involved, understanding what it is to start up a company, understanding how to succeed and getting the mentors around them and getting the money around them. So I've been wanting to get this in Orlando because I didn't have all this when we were starting our company. So I want to be able to help other potential entrepreneurs get it going, and it's kind of selfishly unselfish. Help your community, and it helps you in trying to get that going and that environment going for everybody. So I wanted to get involved with Startup Weekend and reached out and got together with Ort, and here we are.
It just seems like one of those things where you're reaching out and putting out that that energy into, and it's just going to come right back probably tenfold.
Absolutely. So we're just looking to create that really solid ecosystem in Orlando and trying to create that network and. Network to meet people, create opportunities, and these potential entrepreneurs don't know how to do that necessarily, and all of a sudden you're right into the ecosystem, right with the right contacts, and able to make something happen.
Especially the right mix we have right here too. There's it's kind of split between developers, designers, and entrepreneur business types. So you're seeing a lot of people that aren't really used to being face to face, and it's they're really enjoying actually being out and meeting people and stuff like that.
Yeah, part of the biggest thing of making a business successful is the team, and a lot of these people don't have to find those key members of their team. So a developer, a programmer, or a designer, you may have a great idea, but you need to find the other members of the team, and you can't really go hire those people because you have no money. So if you can find a good co-founder to help make your team solid to get your idea to market, that's really key.
And they really only have 54 hours to make the team somewhat work, so it's really like lighting a fire under that team, and it's an exciting dynamic to see it all come together and work. So let's just end it on what kind of takeaways, learning experience has been for you to set this up and participate.
It's business problems are the same across all businesses, no matter what the idea is or what they're trying to prove. So it's kind of formulaic. You just want to figure out those problems, and it just it helps me kind of solidify my own business too, because I get to see the mistakes that are happening and I can reflect on what I'm doing. So it's a great educational benefit to me too, to kind of interact with these teams and make sure I'm staying focused. So just learning lessons and staying on top of things and evolving.
Definitely. And any sort of follow up with Bungo Box since our last episode? Anything? We last left off. I think you were doing that TV show was airing. So anything in the works? Yeah.
So we've had a ton of interest since the TV show. Web traffic has spiked like crazy.
Great.
I'm going to get all the at-bats I need to raise money. So I'm not going to be lacking opportunities to actually raise money. So over the next 90 days, I have every major VC angel and I'm an audience with them to pitch.
Wow.
So we'll find out pretty soon here, probably in 90 days, whether I'm going to raise the money or not. So I'm in full swing.
Well, we're really excited, and we wish you all the best of luck at ENDACAST. Thank you
Great.
so much, Tommy.
Thanks, Sal. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Thanks,
inviting
everybody.
me to this weekend, too.
Oh.
It's been a great learning experience.
Glad to have you,
Absolutely.
buddy.
All right. I'm sitting here right now with Frank Denbo. How you doing? Sal. And this is for ENDACAST right here. We're covering the whole Startups Weekend. And you're actually basically Startups representative, basically, helping out with this organized event right here. Is that something Startups does? As you know, every single event they send someone from the team to sort of facilitate it.
Yeah, Startup Weekend has facilitators that help out at different events. So, being the first event in Orlando, I came down from New York to help out. And, there's a great group of people here, and had a fun time hanging out with you guys.
What do you mainly do in New York?
So I'm a developer, and I work on iPhone apps on my own stuff. And I have a merchandising site for startup companies called Startup Threads.
For sure.
So those two things are.
You told me a little bit about that. It's Startup Threads. You have a few hundred subscribers that get these entrepreneurial, inspiring articles of clothing, really.
Yeah. So every month we pick a new company and we come up with cool swag for people to get every
Nice.
month. And it's really interesting because especially people overseas, they're not able to participate in the startup community. So this is one way that they can feel connected to communities, even if they're in some other place.
How many startup events have you been a part of and facilitating?
I've done probably 12 or 13 startup weekends,
Really?
either participating or organizing over the past, since September 2010.
Wow, what was some of your favorite cities?
So the one we did in Mountain View was amazing. It was a mega startup weekend. We had over 300 people.
Really?
Had a huge party. That was fun. And
Nice.
Philly is also a great city. And of course, New York. We've had some really fun events in New York.
And how have you feel the Orlando one has gone?
Orlando one has been good. It's definitely a good energy. People are collaborating and helping each other. They're not really worried about the little logistical things that are going on. They've kind of just been pretty easygoing. So
Totally.
it's definitely good to be around that.
So we'll leave now with just your advice for any aspiring entrepreneur out there looking to get more involved in their startup community. How do they go about that?
Yeah, you really have to be proactive about it. Like, nobody told me to help out with Startup Weekend. I just kind of bugged people and said, hey, let me volunteer, let me do something. And eventually it turned into me helping out at certain events, and then now being an organizer, main organizer. So if you guys want the community to happen and grow, it has to come from you guys.
There you go. Proactive was that keyword there. Thank you so much, Frank. And best of luck for all the other startup weekends to come. And thank you for doing such a great job.
For
here.
sure, I'll be
Absolutely.
back.
Yes, we will too. Thank you. All right, I'm here right now in one of the breakout rooms with Big Rick, who's a huge player here at Startups Weekend because you sort of got this little floating role. You're in between two teams right now. The last team we left, the Where in the Heck team producing the Patient Zero project, is using Rick for design. Designer.
Yep.
And Rick is also working on another project here called Database, which we'll get into in a minute. But go ahead and talk about this little role as a floater and what's that like here.
It's pretty intense because you have 17 people pulling at you in each direction, which is always a good thing, I guess. There's a high demand for a designer because there's a lack of them here at this event, which is kind of why I also chose to go with two separate groups. What the Heck with their game Patient Zero. I knew that they had something that could be easily produced, and it took pretty much just a whole day's worth of work just to get their logo up and running, to get all the skinning for the application and some assets for the website done, and it was a really nice, clean but grungy looking project that I was able to work with and just go, okay, boom, 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 boom. I know exactly where I want to go with this. Pumped it out, got going, and then at the same time, I started helping out with Database. And then Database said, we need a logo. So while they were formulating everything that they're formulating, and I'm doing whatever, I kind of break off every now and then from everything that I was doing with What the Heck, or Where in the Heck, sorry. And I'd come over and say, hey, how does this look? And then it's just like gold. So then I'd leave, be stoked, sit there, work some more, and then come back and be like, hey, this, and this is being put into production. And now I'm pretty much just skinning an application, and I'm probably going to go ahead and start working on the website for them.
Skinning an application. Now, for people who have no idea what the hell that means, what is skinning an application?
Okay, well, you have a specific look, feel, and style to an application, all right? Basically, an application is based off of the identity that you create for a company. So if the company says, "Hey, we wanted to follow these guidelines," I follow the guidelines. I then break everything down, and everything that you touch, a button, anything that you see like nav bars or icons, I basically produce all that stuff and then send it off to the programmer, and then they apply it to the application. Throughout its geography of the screen. So anything that you can sit there and there you need the settings button up at the top right. I create that settings button, give it its look and feel, and then they apply it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for running us through that.
Yeah.
That's Big Rick, everyone. And my favorite part of Big Rick right now is whether you're watching this video version, you're going to go, that's why it's Big Rick. Or you're just sitting at home listening to the MP3, you're going to hear that lovely dominant voice and go, man, that's Big Rick.
But if you're listening to the MP3, you're not going to see these pretty blue eyes.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
And surf's up, because Rick's a big surfer.
Always.
We always appreciate that here on ENDACAST. All right, Startup Weekends is over. We have our official winner, Mole Shopper. We talked to you a second before, or a while back, on what you've learned. So now go ahead and take us away on what does it feel like to win Startup Weekend. Now we can do this momentum.
It's amazing. I still don't believe it. I think we've got something that's viable that we can turn into a business. People were saying that to us throughout the weekend, but it's hard to trust until it actually comes together. And it seems to be all team. So we looked into the best team members I've ever seen, and they absolutely, this is my wife for the show, they absolutely pushed us in the right direction. And I was just the guy who stood up and pointed their stuff. So
congratulations. Thank you. Let us know whenever you're ready for a full episode on ENDACAST. Come on.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Startups Weekend is officially over. They have winners. I'll post links to any of the information I can on salgreco.com. That's it for this episode of ENDACAST, because it's just the beginning of the end. A cast. Woo-hoo-hoo! Everybody's working for the weekend. Hey. Thank you so much for listening or watching that episode of ENDACAST. I had a ton of time creating it, obviously, at Startups Weekend, and I even had a lot of fun just sitting here outside on a beautiful day, editing it out for you. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter at ENDACAST and check us out on iTunes. If you give us a review, we will totally mention you or your company in an upcoming episode of ENDACAST. So check us out. Thanks again for the Startups Weekend community, the organization, everything. Thank you, Orit. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Frank. You guys put on an amazing event. We had a lot of time. I learned a lot, and thank you for all those participants that really made the weekend. You guys are amazing. You worked 54 hours straight, pretty much. I mean, it was insane. So all the props to you guys. You really made it happen. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in another episode of ENDACAST. Later.